The St. Kitts government considers Liat's request for support. And in sport, two Trinidad and Tobago national footballers fail drug tests. I'm Ricardo Roberts, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Tuesday, March 12, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break. The St. Kitts Nevis government says it has appointed a high-level advisory committee to thoroughly consider a number of proposals put forward by the cash-strapped regional airline Liat. A government statement said the committee, headed by Financial Secretary Hilary Hazel, was established after a three-member Liat delegation made a presentation to Cabinet yesterday. The statement gave no indication as to how soon the committee will report to the Cabinet. On Monday, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves reiterated the need for CARICOM countries to provide financial assistance to the Antigua-based airline that operates 491 flights weekly across its network of 15 destinations. He told Parliament in his country that 11 destinations have been given until Friday to respond to the airline's minimal revenue guarantee proposals. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS, is to begin conducting random drug testing on officers, and Top Cop Gary Griffith, who issued the directive, will be the first to be tested. The details in this report from CNC3's Ria Ramboli.
Released on Monday, the TTPS says the directive is in accordance with Section 93.3 of the Police Service Regulations, which gives the Commissioner the power to order random drug testing for abuse of dangerous drugs by any officer. Section 151 of the regulations states that any officer who is found to be engaged in drunkenness or drug taking, drinking on duty or soliciting a drink, drinks intoxicating liquor while he is on duty, demands or endeavors to persuade any other person to give him or to purchase or obtain any intoxicating liquor while he is on duty, or report to duty under the influence of intoxicating liquor or with the odor of intoxicating liquor on his breath, commits a disciplinary offense and is liable to be charged with such. The TTPS says this is a proactive approach aimed at minimizing the possibility of police officers being addicted to illegal drugs, which can hamper performance and ensure that officers do not become involved in any type of criminal activity. Officers have been notified that random testing across the TTPS will begin in 2 months' time and will continue indefinitely. The top cop has requested that he be the first person to be polygraphed and drug tested.
A former regulator in Antigua and Barbuda, who is wanted in the United States on almost a dozen fraud charges, has suffered another legal blow in his bid to block his extradition before the Privy Council. The Caribbean Supreme Court of Appeal yesterday dismissed Leroy King's application for the matter to go before the London-based court. But his attorney, Dr. David Dorset, says he will now apply directly to the Privy Council for leave to apply to that court. Now, King, former administrator of the Financial Services Regulatory Commission in the Twin Island nation, is accused of 11 charges stemming from the $7 billion Ponzi scheme carried out by Alan Stanford, who is now serving a 110-year prison term in the U.S. The U.S. made its request for King's extradition on June 24, 2009. Meantime, Indian fugitive Mehul Choksi will later this month appeal a High Court decision by the High Court in Antigua and Barbuda in his extradition case. the diamond mogul, who is wanted in his homeland for his involvement in a massive bank scam, had been given Antiguan citizenship under the country's citizenship by investment program before the charges were brought against him. Now, through his attorney, Dr. David Dorset, he had sought to have expert evidence from an Indian lawyer admitted into evidence, but the judge ruled against that.
We thought that evidence would be very relevant to the issue as to the legality of the extradition request made by the Indian government. Our application was denied. We're seeking leave to appeal that decision. The hearing of that application is on the 19th of March.
And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next.
We've added about 2 tablespoons of oil to this pan here. It's hot, so we're going to add our curry paste now. We're going to add the seasoning there, which is shallot and pepper. And you're going to add your shrimp here. And now we're going to add the same and the potatoes together.
When you have a case like this, you know, you're obviously the defendants are going to be the doctors, the hospital, etc. What was the legal strategies you pursued to try and, you know, get success for this case?
Well, the first thing you have to do is establish what are the standards of care. Doctors can't just do what they want. There are standards, minimum standards of care that they're supposed to follow. And there's a rule of medicine called differential diagnosis. You have to rule out the worst first.
Two members of Trinidad and Tobago's senior men's football squad will miss the international friendly with Wales after failing a drugs test. Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper report stated that one of the players is a former national under-17 and 20 youth midfielder who made his international debut via Curaçao in June 2015, while the other is a regular to the senior national team who plays as a striker. Now, head coach Dennis Lawrence is expected to hold a press conference on the matter days before their scheduled departure for their March 20 fixture with the English-based club. The newspaper report added that it was initially rumored that 5 players were found positive from the testing, but a source close to the TTFA confirmed that it was only 2 that had failed when tested. Switching sports now, West Indies batsman Johnson Charles extended his decent form to help Multan Sultans thrash Lahore Qalandars by 7 wickets in their final preliminary round match of the Pakistan Super League yesterday. Now chasing 141 at the National Stadium, Sultans reached their target in the 13th over with right-handed Charles finishing on 41 not out. He put on 53 for the 3rd wicket, with Pakistani left-hander Shan Masood, who scored with 48 off 25 deliveries with 8 fours and a 6. Now Charles, who has not played for the West Indies in 3 years, also faced 25 deliveries while striking 5 fours and a brace of 6s. Masood had earlier put on 50 for the 2nd wicket with opener James Vince, who blasted a 14-ball 25 with 2 fours and 6s. Now in the other match of the double-header, Darren Sami's Peshwar Zalami brushed aside Karachi Kings by 61 runs to claim their 7th win and finish top of the standings on 14 points. Well, that's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Until then, good afternoon.